I wanted to go back to school, and Ally, they made it real easy for me. The staff is really great if you need any help.
Make sure you drive by and you have to look.
The arms were out like this.
Red fingernails.
Like Eva Perón greeting her people.
Maria's arms now gone. The artist and the owner in shock.
I don't know why somebody can be so mean.
Maria was built to represent the owner, a woman with a sense of humor, even when getting bad news.
He goes, call the newspaper and tell him that you had liposuction in your arms.
Customers wonder why anyone would cut off Maria's 8-foot arms.
It's obviously personal. They cut the arms off. They were they're doing harm to the effigy of Maria, maybe a competitor in the taco business. I have no idea.
Okay, so that story might be a little too far-fetched, but what Maria does know is that there were 3 cars in this parking lot after hours, and she knows this because they were caught on one of her hidden security cameras. Maria did call the police, though. She doesn't think anything will come of it. But nothing will stop Maria from welcoming her customers, even without her arms.
We're gonna put some arms, I don't know what, maybe out of cactus so they don't take them off. I don't know.
That was Sila Harapetian. Now Maria, the owner, not the statue, does have a message for the culprit. The first message was R-rated, so we won't repeat that. But she eventually told KXAN she would offer tacos and even some money to anyone who returns those arms.
Weeding out the bad cops and preventing deadly shootings. That's what the Austin Police Department is doing with a $240,000 grant from the federal government. KXAN's Sally Hernandez is live in our newsroom with more.
Hey, Robert, the money will go to a intervention project, an early intervention project called the Guidance Advisory Program. Basically, it's software that's going to track every officer's behavioral move, behavioral pattern, and that is going to help them with information that is critical in the Austin Police Department to prevent critical problems that's affecting the Austin Police Department today.
First it was Jenna, and now this. President Bush's nephew arrested right here in Austin. Authorities call it a case of public intoxication and resisting arrest.
We are live, Cyril Neville in the background, but medical news to talk about at the Austin Convention Center. Jim Bergamo, and I'll have the story coming up.
And we'll show you how hard work and sweat really paid off on this day of caring. Another young member of the Bush family is facing charges here in Austin tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle Valles.
I'm Robert Hadlock. John Ellis Bush, the youngest son of Florida Governor Jeb Bush, was taken into custody early this morning. Jeb Jr., as he's known, is facing alcohol and resisting arrest charges. KXAN's Chris Willis begins our coverage tonight from 6th Street.
It is the latest in a laundry list of Bush sons and daughters arrested on alcohol charges. This time, this morning, 21-year-old John Ellis Bush, known as Jeb Jr., busted for public intoxication and resisting arrest.
About 2 o'clock this morning, our agents were working the 6th Street area. They came in contact with Mr. Bush. He was arrested for public intoxication.
According to the arrest warrant, it was then that the youngest son of Florida Governor Jeb Bush became resistant, pushing against the officer who was trying to handcuff him, then pushing back with his body. Subsequently, he received a cut on his chin.
There was a resisting arrest. He did obtain a small cut on his chin that was treated and released at Brackenridge Hospital.
The TABC tells us that the incident didn't happen coming out of one of the bars or even on the sidewalk. They say it happened here, right at the intersection of 6th and Trinity. And this is not the first time the Bush family children have had trouble with the law. Jebby's sister Noelle, arrested in '02 trying to pass a phony Xanax prescription. And of course the president's daughters, Jenna and Barbara. That list includes minors in possession and fake ID charges. As for today's bus, charges will be filed with the county attorney and a court date will be set. The TABC thinks their case is solid.
The report will show he exhibited several signs of intoxication.
From 6th Street, Chris Willis, KXAN, NBC Austin.
Jeb Bush Jr. was released on a personal recognizance bond for public intoxication. He posted a $2,500 bond for that resisting arrest charge. Well, with flu season right around the corner, the Centers for Disease Control says Hurricane Katrina victims still living in shelters are among those considered high risk for getting the
water out.
Keeping Lake Travis clean and Austin beautiful is not an easy task. See what lies beneath the surface of the lake.
Good for all of us.
And final preparations are underway for the hottest ticket in town this month. A preview coming up. But first tonight, we begin with breaking news. A murder in North Austin. I'm Julie Shields.
And I'm Jim Bergamo. A man was stabbed to death overnight, and now Austin police need your help in tracking 3 suspects. KXAN's Silva Harapetian joins us live from the scene of the crime in North Austin. Silva, what's the latest?
Well, Jim, it all started at about 2:30 in the parking lot of this apartment building, the Research Point Apartments, right off of Research and Anderson Square. Police say that they received a call of a disturbance. When they got here, they didn't see anyone, but they did find evidence that a crime had happened. About a half hour later, police got another call. This KXAN, NBC Austin.
At this hour, charges are pending for a 22-year-old man in connection with a fatal overnight accident in southeast Austin. Austin police say the driver, Richard Zavala, was traveling westbound on Airport Boulevard when he failed to make a curve at the Cesar Chavez and 7th Street split. The car then hit a concrete bridge pillar. A female passenger died at the scene. Zavala faces charges of intoxication manslaughter.
Tonight, still no word on the identity of the man divers recovered from Lake Travis Saturday. Around 6:30 yesterday evening, a boater spotted the body of a man floating in the waters off Snyder Cove. Now, just 1 week ago today, a 37-year-old man disappeared in that same general vicinity. The Travis County Medical Examiner is still trying to confirm the cause of death and whether the man is indeed the missing person.
Tomorrow night, Austin School Board members will decide whether to fire, discipline, or reassign a former Reagan High School principal accused of stealing district money and fudging expense reports. In June, AISD officials opted to terminate John Gonzalez for, quote, falsifying records related to the district's activities. But Gonzalez had the option to appeal. The matter was then turned over to the State Board of Teacher Certification. An examiner cites Gonzalez had a good performance record, but had, quote, run fast and loose with district supplies and equipment, and had failed to explain his lapses in judgment.
More concerns today over allowing New Orleans residents to return home. The mayor of New Orleans says it's okay. The head of FEMA says no way. Here's the latest from Jay Gray.
Making Austin their permanent home.
Right next door at Zilker Park, another event was taking place. We're unofficially calling it wristbands without the waiting. Early birds continued to take advantage of no lines at the Austin City Limits Music Festival redemption area. ACL tickets have to be redeemed for a wristband to get into that event, which officially gets underway Friday. Now, while the lines are expected to lengthen the closer we get to Friday, at least music lovers won't have to contend with as many people at this year's festival.
Probably the biggest thing we've done since between this year and last year was reduce the crowds by about 10,000 people. Last year, probably a little bit too crowded. You get a little bit of heat, a little bit of warmth, and you get all those people kind of moving around. Tended to make it for a little bit of an unpleasant experience.
Although even though the crowds were huge last year, it was okay.
It's manageable.
So it'll probably be great this year.
And in an effort to beat the heat, each person is allowed to bring in 2 plastic bottles of water into the festival. A complete list of what you can and cannot bring is available at the ACL website, which has been linked to our website at KXAN.com. And Laura Skirty joining us in the First Warning Weather Center. I think if there's one really...
Mandatory evacuations are in effect. I urge people to take this storm seriously.
We are tracking the tropics. A new storm headed to Florida could make big waves at this weekend's big music festival. The person sitting next to you at the bar could be undercover. The new effort to cut down on DWIs. KXAN NBC Austin First at 4 starts right now. Good afternoon, I'm Michelle Vias. We begin with the latest tropical threat headed for the Gulf Coast. KXAN's Jim Spencer joins us from the First Warning Weather Center with the latest. Jim?
Well, the storm's name is Rita. She became a tropical storm this weekend and is right now
above a 3-foot storm surge. There will be significant flooding. The Austin Convention Center will close its doors to hurricane evacuees later this week, but only after hundreds more are put into more permanent homes right here in Central Texas. KXAN's Rich Parsons is live at the Convention Center with those details. Rich?
Michelle, as of last night, there were only about 500 people still calling the Convention Center home, but there is an aggressive effort to get those folks into more permanent housing by Friday.
Big winners.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me?
Television's biggest names were strutting their stuff on Emmy's red carpet last night, and they were looking hot.
Don't you?
Supermodel and new mom.
The shelter shuts down. We'll show you how Austin's convention center will clear out Hurricane Katrina evacuees this week.
Don't be surprised if the guy with shorts on and a Hawaiian shirt sitting next to you this time around is a TABC agent.
TABC agents are blending in at local bars. Find out what will catch their eyes. One storm is finally set to blow over for Austin, but another has folks bracing for a direct hit.
Katrina's victims will clear out of the Austin Convention Center by the end of this week, just as Rita threatens to wreak havoc on the Texas Gulf Coast. KXAN's Rich Parsons begins our live team coverage from the Austin Convention Center.
Robert, for nearly a month, evacuees have been able to find 3 hots and a cot here at the convention center, a place where many could begin rebuilding their lives. But Friday, this place will shut its doors, and many New Orleans evacuees will transition to Central Texas residence.
Here, a little later.
Jim, thanks. The search continues tonight for suspects in a stabbing death this weekend. 23-year-old Oscar Hernandez Reyes died Sunday morning. Police believe he was stabbed during a disturbance at the Research Point Apartments in North Austin. Now detectives are looking for 3 Hispanic men seen leaving the apartment complex in a tan or gray minivan. They're also interested in a tan or beige Cadillac, also seen leaving the complex. Either vehicle may have a rear windshield broken out. If you have any information on the stabbing or those cars, call that tip line 477-3588.
He went through bizarre lengths to keep tabs on his girlfriend. Now a 54-year-old Austin man is behind bars facing stalking charges. KXAN Silva Harapetian joins us live with this bizarre story.
Well, Robert, his name is Charles Myers, and police say allegedly used some very simple electronic equipment to record his ex-girlfriend's conversation. Take a look. He cut into a telephone line just like this one outside of her house, connected to another wire to it, to just a basic recorder like this one, and recorded all of her conversations. Police say the victim became suspicious. She said Myers knew information he would only know from her private chats. So she tried. It is, however, illegal to actually install a phone line or cut through a phone line and record a conversation. So that's why Charles Myers now faces burglary, stalking, and tapping charges. Live in Austin, Silva Harapetian on KXAN, NBC Austin.
Silva, thank you very much. In what many would consider a cruel twist of fate, a Marine from Austin drowned Thursday in East Texas. Corporal Bernardo Vasquez was trying to save an uncle who was struggling in the Trinity River. Vasquez had just returned from an 8-month tour of duty in Iraq to spend a week with family. A San Jacinto County deputy constable who jumped in the river to help also died.
A weekend plane crash in Houston claimed the life of a Northwest Austin business owner and her husband. That crash happened Saturday night near Ellington Field in southeast Houston. Witnesses told investigators the Malibu 146 aircraft crashed just after takeoff. Both the FAA and the NTSB are investigating. Premier Lady Fitness and Spa confirmed today the victims were its owner, Cindy Atwood Ransom, and her husband, local veterinarian Rio Ransom.
And Austin police have identified the victim in what appears to be a deadly drunk driving wreck. 18-year-old Jessica Nicole Narvaez died early Sunday morning. She was a passenger in the car driven by 22-year-old Richard Zavala Jr. He's now charged with intoxication manslaughter. Police say Zavala failed to negotiate the curve at the Cesar Chavez and 7th Street split in East Austin and hit a concrete bridge pillar. When it comes to DWI fatalities and accidents, Texas leads the nation, and the Austin area is one of the 5 worst offenders in the state. So now new state funds could mean more undercover stings at a bar near you.
I tend to bar. Just keep an eye on what's going on overall. Sometimes people, get to that point and keep wanting to be served more, and I might have to cut them off or at least slow down.
Texas coast residents are hammering plywood to windows and packing up as Rita makes its way to the Gulf Coast. KXAN NBC Austin First at 4 starts right now. But first, the latest on Hurricane Rita. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michelle Vyas.
I'm Robert Hadlock. Let's get right to it. The latest now from KXAN's Jim Spencer live in our First Warning Weather Center.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hurricane Rita went from a tropical storm at 10 o'clock this morning to currently a Category 2 hurricane. Here's how it looks from space. The storm very well organized now as it is passing about 65 miles southwest. As a very strong hurricane, we can still get hurricane force winds all the way up here. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. First, NBC's Bob Keeling live from Key West, Florida.
Of historic downtown Key West, where we've been getting the worst of these bands from Rita coming in for about the last hour or so. Sometimes it's heavy downpours. At this point, it's just a dry.
National Guard members with more on the state's efforts in that regard. Colonel William Meehan of the Texas National Guard joins us live. And Colonel, what's the current situation on getting those Texas Guardsmen back to Texas?
Robert, the current situation is that the Task Force Lone Star is already on its way here, the ground forces. We expect it'll take a total of about 3 days for those entire forces to arrive here in the greater
Texas. Colonel William Meehan of the Texas National Guard, thanks for that update. Certainly, Michelle.
And Rita may crash the party at the Austin City Limits Music Festival, but organizers say the show will go on while crews set the stage for the 3-day festival at Zilker Park. Folks are waiting to see what Hurricane Rita does. Festival organizers say rain or shine, the music will play. The 3-day event kicks off Friday afternoon, just hours before Rita's projected landfall somewhere along the Texas coast.
We'll keep an eye on it, and if ever it seemed like it was a danger to our fans, to the patrons, then we'd take some action. But for right now, it's just kind of a wait-and-see approach. But we're ready.
And we'll have much more on ACL preps for Hurricane Rita coming up tonight at 6.
Today, family and friends said goodbye to a Central Texas hero. Loved ones of 21-year-old Bernardo Vasquez gathered this morning at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in North Austin. Vasquez died while trying to save an uncle who was struggling in the Trinity River. Vasquez had just returned from an 8-month tour of duty in Iraq to spend a week with his family here in Texas. A San Jacinto County deputy constable who jumped in the river also to help out, he died as well.
And a follow-up this afternoon on the future of Reagan High School principal John Gonzalez. Late last night, AISD decided to let Gonzalez go after reviewing the recommendations. Decided to let him go after reviewing those recommendations from an independent examiner from the Texas Education Agency. Gonzalez is accused of stealing district money and falsifying expense reports. A group of Texas State students is hurling allegations of excessive force against the university and San Marcos police. It all stems from an early morning incident on September 11th. KXAN Santa Henderson brings us this story.
This video from San Marcos Police shows officers responding to a crowd at Texas State. Police say the students wouldn't leave the LBJ Student Center after a party ended. Eventually, 3 men were arrested and 1 was tased. Now students are protesting.
They should have tased if it was needed, but like we said, we don't feel that any of the tasers were needed for this incident.
One of the university officers had been assaulted. Somebody had punched him in the face. He was trying to arrest the person who had assaulted him. Another person came up behind that officer and was pulling on that officer, trying to separate him from the guy he was trying to arrest.
Police say their goal was to get the students to leave the area, but once the officer was hit, they had to take action. Students say they don't believe the officer was hit at all.
We have over 27 student accounts, approximately 30, that said no officer was struck.
Police arrested Joseph Stewart for aggravated assault, Tommy Davis for public intoxication, and Brian Ware for interference. Some students believe police overreacted.
The way I perceive it, the cops did come and reacted through the race, and they need to know in the community that no matter what race, it won't be stood for.
We are students here. We belong here just as much as everybody else, and we're trying to get our education.
As it is now, on-campus events like parties must have 2 university police officers present. Interim Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Joanne Smith, says changes will be made to security and how it's handled in the future, and that may include adding more police officers. Robert?
Santa, thanks. Well, Austin police need your help tracking an alleged sexual assault suspect. Investigators say a woman was sexually assaulted Sunday morning around 2 o'clock in a South Austin neighborhood. The victim told police she was walking in the 5500 block of Westgate Boulevard when the suspect approached her. He allegedly approached the woman with a question before grabbing her. The suspect then dragged the woman into a wooded area where the sexual assault allegedly took place. The suspect is described as a Hispanic man between 30 and 40 years old. If you know anything about this incident, dial 911.
Well, right now, the Dalai Lama is speaking at the Frank Irwin Center. This is the first visit from the exiled leader of Tibet. Let's see if we can listen in.
Of course, I'm not American.
If you recall,
otherwise, we are
thousands of
saying
tickets were given out for this event, and they went fast.
So therefore,
And we understand that Jim
mentally,
Swift is there.
emotionally, even physically, yeah, same.
And he's going to bring us more on the Dalai Lama's visit coming up
So
tonight at 6. Very interesting. The plans are set for another big free event right here in Austin.
KXAN News has confirmed now the plans for the celebration of Austinite Lance Armstrong's win at the Tour de France. No surprise that the 7-time Tour winner's girlfriend will play a big role. Here are the details on the thank you concert, they're calling it. Mark your calendar for Sunday, October 2nd. The free concert will be held at Zilker Park starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I guess we should say fiancé now. There's more local news coming up at First at 4. The details of the search for 2 arson suspects.
A South Austin neighborhood says welcome home to a family evacuated by Hurricane Katrina. I'm Chris Willis. An amazing story of generosity coming up.
And there's a new icon that's keeping Austin weird. Keep it right here on KXAN NBC Austin. First at 4 is just getting started.
Beginning on Sunday.
All right, thank you very much, Jim.
The Austin Fire Department is looking for 2 arson suspects. It's after this morning's fire inside a laundry room at an apartment complex in North Austin. It happened around 10:45 at the Malibu Apartments. That's in the 8600 block of North Lamar. That's just north of 183. Damage estimates are in at about $120,000. The Austin Fire Department has set a world record. Over the past 2 years, Austin has had only 1 fire fatality. That is a record low for a city the size of Austin. The AFD says their Freddie Finger campaign, which stresses the importance of working on fire alarms, has helped them put them at the top.
As the number of fires continue, and we'll have trouble stopping those fires, but we can manage the negative and devastating consequences that occur from them.
The Austin Fire Department gives credit to their aggressive prevention and education efforts.
Well, don't go away. Coming up next, fighting ovarian cancer and how 2 local businesswomen have designed a way to raise awareness. With our local division. Good luck to both you ladies, and thank you for having us, or thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
Robert?
Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. And here's a live look at the traffic here at 426 at St. John's and IH-35. It's going pretty well. And we thank you for choosing KXAN NBC Austin.
Welcome back, everyone. While a new local icon is being created, one local business is giving artists the chance to be creative and at the same time a paycheck. KXAN's photojournalist Patrick Alva shows us how these cows are keeping Austin weird.
They're rough.
I think they have a lot of personality.
And really big. I am painting concrete cow in front of Amy's.
The cow is our mascot, yes. It's our superhero.
At first they asked me to do it in stone.
We really looked around for a long time for an artist.
And Steve's like, can you do it in concrete?
She was interested in the project.
I was like, I've never done concrete before.
But she was very excited.
I freaked out the night before I had to do the concrete because I didn't know anything about concrete.
And her other work was spectacular.
I did it, which is pretty cool, you know?
The true sign if we were successful is if kids look at them and love them.
You always go to museums and they're like, don't touch it, don't touch it. I always hate that, you know, because you want to touch it, and these are for people to touch.
We want each of our stores to have a lot of kind of different artistic contributions and to give work to different artists in Austin.
It helps me make a living. I mean, this is what I want to do. I want to make sculptures. Cool thing about these cows, unless someone takes a bulldozer to them, they'll be here 100 years from now.
And you can play a role in the next phase of this project. All that's left is a name, so stop by Amy's Ice Cream, the new location, 5624 Burnett Road, later this month.
And we'll see you back here at 6.
Penny.
I'm Robert Hadlock live in the KXAN studio, and here's what we're working on for KXAN News at 6. As Hurricane Rita passes south of Florida, officials are ordering a mandatory evacuation now of Galveston County as Hurricane Rita threatens the Texas Gulf Coast. That evacuation order takes effect tomorrow. Our Jim Spencer will tell us what Rita will mean for Central Texas, and will the hurricane pour water on the Austin City Limits Music Festival? We'll have a live report from Zilker Park. NBC Nightly News next, followed by KXAN News at 6.
A difference today.
I'm Rich Parsons, live in Zilker Park. Hurricane Rita could crash the Austin City Limits Music Festival this weekend. Coming up, I'll tell you what happens if she does.
And no room at the inn in Austin for those fleeing the path of Hurricane Rita. But what about the rest of Central Texas? We'll have more on that coming up.
Rita is quickly gaining strength as it heads for the Texas Gulf Coast. Jim Spencer will show us the latest predicted track. Even before Hurricane Rita even comes near Texas, Governor Rick Perry is asking President Bush to approve a disaster declaration for our state.
The president has taken it under advisement, but Gulf Coast communities in Texas are already springing to action. In Galveston County, officials are ordering a mandatory evacuation. That evacuation order takes effect tomorrow night. In the meantime, residents are taking the necessary precautions. Homeowners are nailing plywood to windows, and property managers are securing rental homes, pulling in anything that can fly or float. A new Texas law permitting mandatory evacuations was passed after Florida endured 4 hurricanes last year. But Governor Perry says no one will be forced from their home.
We still live in a free country, and if somebody just says, you know what, I don't care, you can have as many mandatory evacuations as you want, I'm staying here.
There's no room at the inns here in the Austin area. We have live team coverage on hotel availabilities and what effect Rita might have on the Austin City Limits Music Festival, starting with Rich Parsons. He's live at Zilker Park.
Robert, folks out here tell me Rita will not be a showstopper, but check it out. If you're out here and the storm hits, not a lot of places to take cover. You got a few tents, you got some trees, things like that. So I would highly recommend you bring stuff like this. Maybe a raincoat like this with a hood, or perhaps even a small umbrella like this as part of your festival gear this year. With the stages just about set,
ropes,
rain, shine, or Hurricane Rita, the Austin City Limits Music Festival will go on Friday.
Anytime you hear something like that, of course, it's, kind of sets off the alarms, especially with what just happened down in the Gulf.
Hi there.
But many of the 65,000 fans who bought tickets expect the worst that will happen here is rain.
I'm coming with a bunch of friends, so we'll have fun no matter what.
A little rain's okay. Torrential rains may be different, but a little rain wouldn't keep wouldn't keep us away.
And festival organizers say barring anything catastrophic, which no one expects, they wouldn't cancel.
A ton of rain is not going to stop a rock show or a festival like this.
But between this festival and the old Pecan Street Festival downtown, there may be little shelter in the capital city for any hurricane evacuees from the coast.
We don't have any hotel rooms available. We've called all the hotels in the area that are listed in the Austin Convention Visitors Bureau Guide, and there are absolutely no hotel rooms downtown, in the outskirts, or even in Round Rock.
Yeah. Still, some do see a silver lining in the hurricane clouds heading our way.
If anything, the rain might be a welcome little break in the heat.
Of course, Austin is not the only city around here bracing for Hurricane Rita. Folks all over the region are battening down the hatches. For more on that, we go live to Haley Stavanoa in Williamson County.
That's right, Rich. There is not a single hotel room available over the weekend here in Williamson County. And we're talking, there's not one available anywhere in Williamson County, but the Williamson County emergency crews are on standby and ready. They're following Hurricane Rita very closely. Whether it's medical staff or ambulances, Williamson County says they will be ready to provide any available resources needed over the weekend. Emergency Operations Director Jeff Hayes says they will spend the entire week planning, not because of the disaster that Hurricane Katrina caused, but because of what Florida has gone through.
Lee County. I think the state learned a lot of lessons from the state of Florida that took 5 hurricane hits over the hurricane season last year, and we do the lessons learned concept. And from the lessons learned there is that the more preparation, the earlier preparation you do, the better prepared to serve your citizens.
Now, Hayes says the best message for our viewers, be aware and be prepared. Stay up to date on the weather and take stock of plenty of water and batteries. Now, for more on the emergency planning in the Hill Country, let's go out to Connie Sweeney. Connie?
Well, Haley, calls have already started coming into the Hill Country from people who can't find a place to stay in the Austin area. If you take a look behind me, you see the Hampton Inn. It's one of the bigger hotels in this area, and they're already booked for the weekend and only have a handful of rooms left for tonight and tomorrow. The Marble Falls Lake LBJ Chamber of Commerce, they've been fielding some of these calls today about motel requests. Officials started compiling a list, and you can see the number there on your screen if you want to get more information. There are still motel rooms in Burnett, Marble Falls, and Kingsland, but they are going fast. And you won't find any hotel rooms at better-known locations like the Holiday Inn and Howard Johnson. Now, also, the best resource to find a motel in the area, of course, is your Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's check in with Jim Spencer, who can tell us what these travelers can expect. Jim?
Well, it is looking more and more likely that Rita will make landfall on the Texas coast here in about 3 days. Here is the satellite imagery late this afternoon. The storm has strengthened to a Category 2 here in the central Texas area in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Jim. A Travis County jury handed up its first indictment in the murder case that shocked West Campus in August. Laura Hall is indicted for hindering the arrest and apprehension of suspected killer Colton Petoniak. Petoniak is accused of shooting, stabbing, and dismembering 21-year-old Jennifer Cave in his Orange Tree apartment in West Campus. He was found in Mexico with Laura Hall and sent back to Texas for immigration violations.
Detectives are hunting for a suspect in a South Austin sexual assault. A 21-year-old woman says she was walking here in the 5500 block of Westgate, returning to a friend's home at about 2:30 Saturday morning when a man attacked her, then ran away. She describes the attacker as an average-sized Hispanic man in his 30s who spoke Spanish and had a strong body odor. Call the APD Sex Crimes Tip Line for more information. That number on your screen, 974-5095.
Well, arson investigators are looking for suspects responsible for starting a fire at a North Austin apartment complex. It broke out at around 10:45 this morning in the laundry room of the Malibu Apartments on North Lamar. Firefighters say the flames spread quickly throughout the room and to nearby cars outside. No one was injured, but the man caused more than $120,000 in damage. That is the fire act. And investigators were able to determine 2 people were responsible for setting the fire. But at this point, no arrests have been made. Well, Austin Fire Department's Investigations Division says they're prosecuting arsonists at a rate twice the national average. It's just one reason AFD is touting some good news today. More than 24 months have passed with only 1 death related to a fire in Austin. That's a world record for a city our size. The chief says he also credits campaigns focusing on working smoke alarms and fire code enforcement for the low number of fatalities.
The wheels are now in motion for the last Lance Armstrong victory party in Austin. We'll have new details on when and where coming up.
Putting the finishing touches on a miracle. I'm Chris Willis in South Austin with a big-time makeover for a family devastated by Hurricane Katrina. We'll show it to you coming up.
For sure they'd be 2-0.
That was one heck of a game.
It was. Thanks for being with us.
We'll see you at 10.
Collision course, Texas. Hurricane Rita is now a Category 5 storm moving through the Gulf of Mexico, and the Lone Star State isn't taking any chances. KXAN News is your first source for live team coverage of the latest developments from Galveston all the way here to Central Texas. KXAN News First at 4 begins right now. As many as 1 million Texans have been ordered to clear out of the Gulf Coast region. Good afternoon. I'm Robert Hadlock.
And I'm Michelle Bias. All of these school buses were lined up in Galveston to help the evacuation of residents that may not have the resources to leave on their own. The buses are heading out of
Hurricane approaches. The State Emergency Operations Center just finished a briefing on how to handle this intense storm. KXAN's Rich Parsons is live at the center with more.
Yeah, Robert, we just came out of the Emergency Operations Center. You have some fresh video for you to see. It is a flurry of activity down there right now. That's about 2 stories below me here at the Department of Public Safety headquarters on North Lamar. As you said, folks here expect possibly as many as 1 point. Show you coming up tonight at 6. Back to you.
Rich, thank you. KXAN's Jim Spencer is in Galveston, which is emptying out pretty quickly today. Jim, what's it like down there right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a ghost town, and I can vouch for what you heard earlier about I-45 there being bumper to bumper. I mean, traffic was hardly moving going into Houston from the Galveston area. Meanwhile, we had very little problem getting to Galveston today, obviously, coming from Austin, but people are taking the evacuation order very, very seriously. Very little traffic. You can't find a store even open now. They're boarding up this town and they are getting out, and that is a very good idea because this has now become, late this afternoon, a Category 5 maximum intensity hurricane, and this storm is about 600 miles east-southeast of where I stand here in Galveston, Texas, on Galveston Island. As you can see, the sea right now looks very placid. But will this ever change before long? Let's take a look at the satellite imagery of this intense hurricane. This thing is really something else. Category 5, 165-mile-per-hour sustained wind storm is what you're looking at right there. Fortunately, is over the open water right now, not affecting any land areas yet. But let's take a look at the storm statistics and the storm path. And here is where the problem lies for Texas. This storm, again, now 165-mile-an-hour sustained wind moving to the west.
To do your job and to go out and to actively look for those who may need assistance.
Also in Houston, stores like Home Depot are reporting a shortage in supplies of generators, bottled water, and plywood as many folks begin stocking up for this storm. Home Depot says they are sending extra trucks to the Houston area to help replenish their supplies at their stores.
And all the people leaving the Texas coast will find booked hotel rooms all over central Texas, but there are some shelters that will be opening for evacuees. Here in Austin, the Delco Center in East Austin will open its doors when necessary. KXAN's Haley Stavanoa joins us live from our Williamson County Bureau with more on the preparations underway there. Haley?
Well, Michelle, as for shelters, many of the schools and rec centers in Round Rock and Georgetown have already been notified to be on standby this weekend. But city officials want to encourage all hurricane evacuees to go to Austin first. Once Austin shelters are completely full, then the shelters in Williamson County will be opened up when needed. As for other preparations going on in Williamson County,
underway at 7 o'clock. Austin police are using a new approach to crack down on drug dealers and prostitutes in certain parts of town.
And there's been a fiery plane crash today near San Antonio. Amazingly, the pilot survived. Keep it right here on KXAN NBC Austin for more of today's developments.
And here's another live look at Galveston today as residents there prepare for the arrival of Hurricane Rita. We'll talk again with KXAN's Jim Spencer in just a few minutes about the storm's preparations that are underway.
Offer ends soon.
Live at 6.
On the run, thousands evacuate the Texas Gulf Coast as Rita gathers strength.
There's no need to panic.
Jim Spencer is live from Galveston with continual updates as KXAN tracks Hurricane Rita.
Tonight at 6.
This is a live picture from Jim Spencer and our KXAN crew on the scene there at the seawall in Galveston, where it looks like a beautiful day to be out, but Jim is telling us that the city has been evacuated for the most part, and we're getting first word now from the White House. President Bush has declared a state of emergency in effect here in Texas and Louisiana because of the approaching storm. That will clear the way for more federal assistance as the days go on. We'll be getting back to Jim in just a minute. In other news, a small purchase drugs or sex will be arrested.
Austin police also continue to investigate a murder-suicide in North Austin. Husband and wife Andrea and Andrew Borkston were found shot to death in their home late Tuesday afternoon on Tallwood Drive. Police say preliminary evidence indicates Andrew Borkston shot his wife, then took his own life. The couple had 4 children who were not at home at the time. A friend of the family discovered the bodies and called police. This is Austin's 19th murder of 2005. Anti-war.
6 o'clock. Robert, Michelle.
All right, thank you very much. Well, we still have much more coming up. We'll show you how local hospitals will be helping out those evacuees and much more.
And here's a live look at traffic along I-35 near 51st Street. We have a traffic alert if you're traveling southbound on I-35 in far south Austin near the Bunton overpass. Traffic there is very slow because of an accident that happened earlier today. Only the shoulder is open headed south near the Bunton overpass on I-35. TxDOT expects all lanes to reopen by 7 o'clock tonight. And you're watching KXAN NBC Austin live at 427.
At 6.
And And we want to take you live to Houston now. Interstate 45, the Gulf Freeway, which goes, of course, from Galveston to downtown Houston. It is a virtual parking lot for the northbound traffic there as people flee this storm that is headed our way.
Amazing. Well, that's all the time we have for now. We'll see you again at 6 for more of today's local news. And Rita with Jim Spencer in Galveston. Stick around. NBC Nightly News at 5:30. And Access Hollywood is next. Michelle Bias live in the KXAN studio. Here's what we're working on for KXAN News at 6. Hurricane Rita has powered up to a top-of-the-scale Category 5. KXAN's Jim Spencer is live in Galveston, and we'll have the latest information on the storm's path and how Rita will affect us right here in Central Texas. Plus, President Bush has declared a state of emergency before Rita's impact. People on the coast are evacuating, but they won't find vacant hotels here, but they will find shelters. KXAN News at 6 is coming up right after NBC Nightly News next.
Tonight, 2 incredible NBC.
Getting out of the way, thousands hit the road and head north. Jim Spencer has continual live reports from the danger zone as Hurricane Rita sets its sights on the Texas coast.
I'm Jim Spencer. We're here on Galveston Island. We're just 600 miles offshore. Category 5 Hurricane Rita is on the way. I'll have a live report.
A state of emergency. That's what President Bush has declared Texas in advance of powerful Hurricane Rita, with evacuations in full swing right now along the Texas Gulf Coast. KXAN has live team coverage from the Texas Emergency Operations Center in Austin, the First Warning Weather Team, but we begin with Jim Spencer, who's live in Galveston. Jim?
Hi, Robert. This storm has become another monster Category 5 hurricane. It is located about 600 miles east-southeast of where I am here on the seawall in Galveston, Texas. This city has become a ghost town with the approach of this hurricane. Take a look at some of the evacuation that was underway earlier in the day today. Bumper-to-bumper traffic is what we found as we approach
in Central Texas, so stay tuned for that.
Amazing information there, Laura. Thank you very much. State emergency planners insist Texas is ready to take on Rita. They've been practicing this disaster scenario for years. Well, now with lives in the balance, all that training will be put to the test. KXAN's Rich Parsons is live outside the State Emergency Operations Center where it's very busy.
Yeah, Michelle, but first we got to tell you about some breaking news. We're being told now that the city of Corpus Christi is ordering mandatory evacuations this evening. Back here in Austin, I'm standing about 2 stories above the State Emergency Operations Center, where workers are going at it feverishly tonight, preparing for Rita's arrival and aftermath. But emergency officials say they will have the resources in place by tonight to respond to any emergency. Galveston, now you see it, now you don't. Swamped by the surge from a monster storm like Hurricane Rita in this disaster model. It's what state emergency officials fear most as Rita bears down on Texas.
Really, there's no choice but to evacuate these areas, even though some may not be impacted. The uncertainty of it is just, the risk is too high.
So emergency officials are pleading with folks in the coastal bend from Port Arthur now to seek shelter. For more on what the capital city is doing to prepare for their arrival, we go live to Chris Willis. Chris?
Yeah, Rich, you mentioned that Corpus Christi evacuation now mandatory. That's going to mean more people in Austin. The city of Austin says they're ready to take on as many as 15,000 evacuees, but they want to make it clear this situation is much different than the evacuations that took place in New Orleans. The folks coming to Austin will likely have their own money, their own vehicles, and should be completely self-sufficient. Now, the city says they restaurants or even some shopping. So that is the latest from the city of Austin. They're also preparing up in Williamson County, and for the latest, up by 35. Let's check in with Haley Stavanoa. Haley, good evening.
Good evening, Chris. You're right. All of the schools and recreation centers in Round Rock and Georgetown have been notified to be on standby this weekend. But city officials are encouraging all hurricane evacuees to go to Austin first. Once the shelters in Austin are full, then Williamson County shelters will open up and take over the overflow.
Will request space in Austin in the future. It's not just rain that Central Texans should brace for this weekend. It's a good idea to tie down or bring in whatever might fly away in a tropical storm force wind. We'll show you where wind could cause the most trouble coming up. And Austin knows all too well the threat of tornadoes spawned by hurricanes. Jim Spencer will have this historical perspective in another live report from Galveston coming up.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, if severe weather hits, you can expect some strong winds.
KXAN Santa Henderson puts the potential damage into perspective.
The sky is picture perfect on this painting, but in reality, employees at Austin Furniture Consignment know Hurricane Rita is brewing heavy rain and wind that will change how they do business.
We're going to prepare, we're going to leave most of the stuff inside, all the stuff inside, of course, if it's going to be raining. Our biggest advertising is taking the furniture out here for all these people to see it, so when it rains, it really hurts the business.
What are we expecting? What do people need to know about the strong winds that may come this way?
Worst case scenario, on Saturday, we could be seeing tropical storm force winds between 40 to 70 miles an hour right here in central Texas.
And because of that, the people here are taking precautions. They'll keep items like this chair inside so they don't get blown away.
Any kind of like stand-up mirror, the screens, room dividers, stuff of that nature.
You might encounter unusual traffic because I think we are going to be seeing a lot of people evacuating.
Meteorologist Laura Skirty says Austin favorites like the Pecan Street Festival could also be affected if Hurricane Rita heads this way.
We all know what some wind gusts embedded in a severe thunderstorm have done. They can cause structural damage to homes. So you can just imagine what it could do to smaller items outside or temporary structures. When you're talking 40 to 70 mile an hour winds, even if it's just some gusting here and there, there's definite potential for that to do quite a bit of damage.
We're just going to fix it up.
That includes making sure windows can withstand what may come this way. Santa Henderson, KXAN, NBC, Austin.
And here's another demonstration of what kind of damage those winds can do to less sturdy structures like mobile homes. We visited a research team at Texas Tech in Lubbock a few years ago that was studying the effects of debris hurtling at different types of walls. The goal of their research was to build an above-ground tornado shelter, but they quickly discovered why structures like mobile homes always sustain the worst damage. The board they shot at this wall was going at about 75 miles an hour.
On a scale of 1 to 5, the protection that you would have inside a structure like this would be a 1. Representative of
Conventional homes should be fine in our area aside from typical storm damage. Boarding your windows is unnecessary, but trimming those trees and securing outside furniture might not be a bad idea.
Well, the seas are calm now, but we'll have another live report following Hurricane Rita's footsteps from Galveston next.
You're watching KXAN NBC Austin, first at 4. Our entire KXAN crew is tracking Hurricane Rita. Good afternoon. I'm Robert Hadlock.
And I'm Michelle Bias. We'll have live team coverage throughout the afternoon and answer your questions about the hurricane for the next hour. Jim Spencer's live in Galveston. Laura Skirty is in the First Warning Weather Center. And Haley Stavanoa live in the sky following traffic.
We're going to begin now with Laura Skirty with the very latest on where Rita is right now. Laura?
And we have an interesting update for you this afternoon.
Live at 6.
I'm Jim Spencer on the Strand here on Galveston Island, where the very last retailer is boarding up ahead of a storm that could wipe out a big part of this community. I'll have a live report.
Tracking Hurricane Rita. Tonight at 6 on KXAN NBC Austin.
We are tracking Rita here first up for the State Emergency Operations Center in Austin is busy tracking today's developments. KXAN's Rich Parsons is live there with the latest. I understand you were at a press conference earlier today, Rich.
Yeah, they've actually had a couple, Michelle, to keep us up to date on actions and recovery operations. Michelle?
Rich, thank you very much. I believe we have some more questions that maybe our team can help us with.
Yeah, we're getting an email from Catherine, and Rich, this kind of touches on what you've been talking about. I know this was addressed in the news conference at 3 o'clock. She's saying that I have a brother in a halfway house rehab program in Beaumont, and they will not evacuate him. They're telling the individual to stay in his trailer, and she is very worried for his safety, but you're telling us that help is on the way.
The best advice that they have from the Emergency Operations Center
Robert, I
is to call...
Robert, Michelle. Sean, thank you. We're going to have more right here on KXAN News first at 4 in this special expanded 1-hour edition as we look at more live traffic from Texas Highway 71 in the LaGrange area. Folks moving their way to the Austin area right now, and it looks not bad at that point. We'll be back with more after this.
We'll be taking your questions. 476-0494. Call in.
Anything's possible.
We want to take you back live to Galveston. This is a camera that is pointed toward the north, I believe, on a hotel. Jenny Hoff, she's in Galveston with this update. Jenny, what's going on?
Well, I'm here on what is typically the busiest street in Galveston, Texas. These are even the trolley tracks where tourists are usually brought through. As you can see, it's completely deserted. The mayor says about 90% of the island has evacuated. Now, last night they were supposed to bring the last people out with their buses. They did bring in a few more buses this morning to get some last-minute evacuees. But other than that, they say whoever is staying on this island just needs to hunker down and stay safe. Now, we found plenty of those people out there today. There's about 4,000 to 5,000 people staying on this island. Some were out surfing, some enjoying the water. Some say, though, they did watch Hurricane Katrina. They do want to leave at the last minute, depending on the reports. One man even told me he will find a way off this island if it gets bad enough, even if there are no buses left. Do you have a way to get out?
Yeah. Got feet.
Now, obviously, he's got a good sense of humor about the whole situation, especially now that the storm is moving north of here. We will also be moving north of here to see how those Gulf towns are preparing for Hurricane Rita. Also, tonight, we will give you the latest warnings that people here are being warned of and people on the coast are being warned of, so you'll want to stay tuned with that. We will bring you many more live reports. Reporting live from Galveston, Texas, Jenny Hoff, KXAN, NBC Austin.
We have many emergency shelters opening up all over Austin to help out with those evacuees. We'll have the latest on that in just a couple of minutes.
At this hour, several emergency shelters here in Austin are full with hurricane evacuees, many reaching capacity in a matter of minutes. KXAN Sally Hernandez is live at one shelter with more. Sally?
Hey, Robert, this shelter here at Burnett Middle School opened about an hour and a half ago, and it is almost full because you have evacuees coming from all over the Gulf Coast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Vias, live in the KXAN studios. We have much more coming up for you at 6. It looks like Central Texas will not be as affected. We'll keep it right here. Jim Spencer is live in Galveston, and much, much more ahead on KXAN News 36 at 6.
We've been on the road for 7 hours.
We have moved for 1 mile an hour for the last 2.5 hours.
They're kind of going so slow that they can walk faster than their cars.
This evacuation is historic in its proportion.
A slow escape from the wrath of Rita, but while all the traffic might bring some headaches to Central Texas, it looks like we'll escape the brunt of the storm. KXAN News starts now with live team coverage from the Texas Emergency Operations Center, local shelters, and the Texas coast, where Jim Spencer will bring us the very latest on Hurricane Rita's track. Jim?
Well, I'm here on an absolutely deserted Strand Boulevard, the famous marketplace here in Galveston, Texas, where there were to be thousands of bicyclists here for a rally this weekend. Nobody is here now, and for good reason. Take a look at the hurricane, and we're going to tell you about the local impacts at this
bit.
Lauren, thanks. State emergency officials say the next 18 hours are critical. For many, it is the last chance to flee Hurricane Rita before the conditions get too dangerous, even for rescue operations. KXAN's Rich Parsons is live at the State Emergency Operations Center in North Austin with the very latest.
Yeah, Robert, the military is in place, search and rescue crews are in place, emergency provisions are in time. Reporting at the Emergency Operations Center, Rich Parsons. Michelle, back to you.
Okay, Rich, more on that traffic. All of the major freeways leading out of Houston have been moving, as you saw, at a stop-and-go crawl since last night. This is video of I-10 and 71, the split near Columbus. You can see traffic there moving bumper to bumper, taking some folks as long as 11 hours to get to Austin. Early today, TxDOT shifted Interstate Highways 10 and 45 to a one-way out of Houston, asking people to go to San Antonio and then north on 35 to get to Austin. Texas is deploying additional DPS troopers at critical junctions along evacuation routes to assist in traffic flow activities. Many of those along the evacuation route are either getting low on gas or are running out, as Rich said. The state has dispatched fuel trucks along Texas evacuation routes to help fleeing motorists who have run out of gas. But that's not stopping the race to the pumps here in Austin, no matter what the price.
Back in '98, it was 99 cents. I never saw this.
Right next to it. Back to you.
Sally, thanks. Well, it's tough to believe, but even after witnessing the problems in New Orleans, some Galveston residents are refusing to leave tonight. We'll have a live report from the island on those who stayed behind and how Galveston is looking forward.
For preparing for Rita. Reporting live from Galveston, Texas, Jenny Hoff, KXAN NBC Austin.
And we've been fielding hundreds of questions on everything from the weather to shelters to road conditions. That's why we had a special hour-long 4 o'clock news here on KXAN today to answer as many of those questions as we could. If you missed that broadcast, you can find all those questions at KXAN.com or send us another question that we may not have answered for you.
You might want to look right behind me. Sean Rutherford, First Cast meteorologist, pulling double duty today. He has been answering all of those questions. Go ahead and log on to KXAN.com. If you sent us a question today, it is answered by now, thanks to Sean. Of course, we're talking about the calm before the storm here in
The high school football schedule that include games being moved all the way to Monday night and some games being canceled outright. And Roger has it all next. Today on KXAN News, first at 4, walls of flames are nearing homes in the Los Angeles area. The latest coming up.
It was $67 to fill up my tank today. That's crazy.
And how the pain at the pump is affecting your credit card bills. KXAN News first at 4 starts right now, but first late-breaking news in South Austin. KXAN's Chopper 36 is high above the scene. The Austin Police Department has blocked off a section of the Interstate 35 northbound service road just before William Cannon. These are live pictures from there. This after someone found the remains of a body. That body was found just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. The Austin Police Department says the investigation is now ongoing. Traffic there, as you can see, is very slow going now because of all the onlookers, of course. Right now, the traffic along the northbound service road is being blocked off and rerouted onto the interstate. And that is causing some major delays, as you see there. The traffic on the left heading north. And now there are reports that the southbound lanes are even slower now than they were earlier because of a traffic accident in that southbound travel lanes of Interstate 35. Again, we'll keep you posted on the ongoing situation. Again, this in South Austin, just before William Cannon on the northbound service road of I-35. The body found there just this afternoon.
The indictment of Congressman Tom DeLay for criminal conspiracy opens a door for his appearance in Travis County. NBC Austin's Santa Henderson joins us live with what will happen once he's here. Santa?
Michelle, Tom DeLay must now come to Austin to face the allegations against him. He's accused of conspiring to give corporate contributions to candidates for the Texas legislature back in 2002. Now, it all stems from the Texans for a Republican majority case. It's also known as Trim Pack. Now, one judge says that once DeLay's in Austin, he should get no special treatment.
Mr. DeLay will come down here and report to the judge, in which time he will be fingerprinted and his photo taken in the normal booking process that any person charged of a criminal offense is subjected to.
Now, defense attorney Dick DeGuerin says he would like a trial by the end of the year. Judge John Wisser says the case is not in his court, but he doubts that that would be possible. Reporting live in the newsroom, Santa Henderson, KXAN, NBC Austin.
The impact of Hurricane Rita is still being felt along the southeast Texas coast. Today, Governor Rick Perry and his wife Anita are visiting Lufkin to check out the hurricane relief activities in East Texas. More than 72,000 military personnel and about 50,000 National Guardsmen have provided hurricane support to the Texas and Louisiana areas. KXAN's Rich Parsons is just returning from Lufkin after spending the day there with the National Guard. We'll have a live report from him on our news tonight at 6.
There's new information this year. There's been no comment from the company. Another Austin neighborhood will soon be getting what they call speed cushions to slow traffic.
The City Council gave the green light for this project, and KXAN's Silva Harapetian spoke to neighbors today. She joins us live from 38th and a half Street. Silva.
Well, Robert, take a look behind me. We're at 38th and a half and Maple, and this Maplewood Elementary School is why neighbors say one of the reasons they need speed bumps to slow down traffic. For those of you not familiar with the neighborhood, let me show you what we're talking about. A lot of people use 38th and a half, Cherrywood, and all the streets in the area as an access road to I-35. That, neighbors say, brings a lot of speeding traffic to their quiet residential neighborhood.
This is now an alternate to taking the northbound access road on 35. So people are, you'll see them. I mean, if you spend any time here, they'll just come zipping up. It almost looks like a stunt coming over the railroad tracks. I've seen people actually leave the ground because they're going so fast.
Yeah, we witnessed that too when we were here. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about these speed bumps. They're actually called speed cushions. And if this were the street, they're actually rectangular elevations on the street. And what happens is that these are meant to slow down sedans, smaller cars. But they're also designed in such a way where they won't slow down emergency traffic like ambulances and fire trucks. But that obviously poses a whole other question and a whole other problem as far as trucks are concerned in this neighborhood. We'll tell you about that part of the story coming up at 6. Live, Silvahara Petty on KXAN, NBC Austin.
We'll see you at 6, Silva. Thank you very much. Skyrocketing gas prices are about to pinch Travis County residents more than they already are.
Individuals have more control over their own travel circumstances sometimes and can cut back. It's not good public policy to tell the sheriff's deputies, please don't drive.
An increase in tonight at 6.
Well, here's a man getting a lot of respect around the KXAN building today, our weatherman, Jim Spencer.
I told you there'd be a lot of smiles around here today. Remember the last several days we've shown you that tower camera picture with not a cloud in the sky and the sunshine beating down on us? Well, today, an entirely different story. Overcast over our beautiful city. Cloud cover hanging in, holding temperatures in the 70s in the city right now. As you can see, this live, beautiful picture from KXAN Chopper 36. These are the current temperatures, as I mentioned, in just a minute.
Okay, ladies, listen up. A story you gotta see. Jeans designed to give you that flattering look. And you can find them right here in Austin.
This last time, it really bothered me. It was like, why this happen again?
KXAN's Chris Stites brings us the story of one high school football player and his determination to play again on the field.
KXAN Podcast.
Tonight at 6.
Breaking news. A body is found near I-35, slowing the freeway down to a crawl. Chopper 36 is in the air. New information next.
Live tonight at 6 on KXAN, NBC Austin.
Hi again.
Busick, NBC News.
Well, right now we want to take you live to KXAN's Rich Parsons. He just returned from Lufkin after spending the day there with the National Guard. He's at Austin Bergstrom International. And Rich, what can you tell us about your trip?
Literally 30 seconds ago, I just got off this plane right here. It is a National Guard, Texas Army National Guard Sherpa. We flew out of ABIA here about 8 o'clock this morning, went out to Lufkin to check out what the National Guard is doing out there with regard to Hurricane Rita recovery and relief. They took us to the National Guard Armory out there where they've got a bunch of evacuees set up, and they've got a big fuel depot because even though that...
Hi, Robert Hadlock live here in the KXAN studio, and here's what we're working on for KXAN News tonight at 6. Someone discovered a body off of a frontage road of I-35 in South Austin this afternoon. We'll have a live report from the scene. Plus, it's an investigation KXAN News has followed for more than a decade now. Several Austin police officers accused of selling drugs and the fellow officers who called them out. Now, 1 decade later, the city's case is finally closed. NBC News is next, followed by KXAN News at 6.
Breaking news, a dead body causes a major mess on I-35. Traffic grinds to a halt while authorities investigate the scene near the freeway.
I'm Rich Parsons in Lufkin. Coming up in a story you'll see only on NBC Austin, how Texas National Guard troops and folks from elsewhere are helping get East Texas up and rolling after Hurricane Rita.
Tonight at 6.
Much more than a traffic jam, a dead body brings I-35 to a standstill. We'll bring you up to speed as the mystery unravels. Their mission continues. We ride along with National Guard troops to see how they're refueling devastated parts of East Texas. And sweet relief as the heat wave breaks. Jim Spencer looks at how low the temperatures will go. Topping KXAN News, a body found along I-35 near William Cannon.
Our Chris Willis is live at the scene, and it just gets messier by the minute, Chris.
Yeah, it certainly does, Robert. Good evening to you. It has been a mess here at the northbound lanes of I-35 from Slaughter all the way up to William Cannon. Reports of a deceased person, as you mentioned, came in at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Cameras were held back, but KXAN Live Chopper 36 was up in the air. Here are the latest photos of the crime scene, and as you look at that, we can tell you the body was located just off the frontage road of the northbound I-35 lanes, right at the William Cannon exit. Crime scene investigators were here for roughly 3 hours, as was the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office and detectives from the Vehicular Homicide Division of the Austin Police Department. Here is the very latest from just a few moments ago.
The body appears to have been here for 4 to 5 days. It has information, there's information and evidence that indicates it was an auto pedestrian accident, debris and injuries to the body, and all we know is that it's a male with injuries.
All right, as for an identity now, no positive identification has been made. That's important to point out. These flyers, however, take a look, have been up all over town today, and as you take a look at this, we can tell you they're describing a missing man named Dino DeRose, the lighting director for the group Widespread Panic. They played this weekend at ACL Festival, and while we were here on the side of the road, a truck pulled up with a bunch of people asking about this discovery. So we asked the people here if the description on this flyer matched the description of the body found. And again, they told us on the scene here, no identification has been made, no family has been notified, but we were able to find out the description of this flyer does have similarities to a description of the body found today. So again, we're not here to do any police work, of course. That's for the police department, and they will make a positive identification in the next few hours. They are asking, however, anybody who has any information about a damaged car on the front end, probably the right side, because they believe it's an auto pedestrian accident. If you have information or questions about a vehicle you know about that has an accident that can't be explained, they're asking you to contact Austin Police Department. That's the latest here from the frontage road, I-35 northbound lanes. I'm Chris Willis, KXAN, NBC Austin.
It's an investigation KXAN is following.
Still burning, but California firefighters get some much-needed relief as they continue battling some massive flames.
And we're talking to Lance Armstrong about the big party in the works this weekend for the 7-time Tour de France champion. KXAN News First at 4 starts right now. We begin with some breaking news this afternoon. Good afternoon, I'm Michelle Vias.
I'm Robert Hadlock. Police are on the scene of a deadly rollover accident right now on northbound I-35 near Wells Branch Parkway. KXAN's Jim Bergamo is live at the scene with the very latest. Jim.
Robert, Michelle, one person is dead, 5 others seriously injured as a result of that rollover you're talking about. We're located on the Interstate 35 access road northbound between Howard and Grand Avenue Parkway. Let's take a look at some of the video we have, and we'll share the information that's been told to us so far. Now, APD officials tell us that 6 juveniles traveling in that dark sedan were speeding along this access road that I'm on right now when the car rolled over. 1 person was killed, 1 person suffered critical injuries, 4 others taken to the hospital with potential life-threatening injuries. Now, if we come back out live to me for just a second, I can tell you that I got a late start for work today, and I was traveling southbound on this very road, and this accident had already occurred, backing up traffic. That begs the question, what were these kids doing out of school? Were they on their lunch break? Were they skipping class? Did they have the day off? Those questions remain to be answered, but as I mentioned, already 2.5 hours since I passed this scene. Let's take a look, courtesy KXAN, NBC Austin, Chopper 36, and we can show you the traffic situation. And you're not going to believe this, but cars are backed up all the way, we're told, to Highway 290. That's how much, and again, how long this accident has backed up traffic here. And to make matters worse, now southbound on I-35 in Round Rock at Interstate 35 and SH 45, another accident has traffic backed up for miles in that direction. So the commute home on Interstate 35 is probably going to be a long one for more. We will continue to share more information as we get it to you. Until then, reporting live in North Austin, I'm Jim Bergamo, KXAN NBC Austin. Robert, Michelle, back to you.
Horrible situation. 1 person dead, 5 others injured critically. We'll have more coming up at 6. A mentally ill Round Rock woman is sexually assaulted, and now the Williamson County Jail says it made a terrible mistake. KXAN's Williamson County reporter Haley Stavanoa is joining us live to explain this. Haley?
Well, Michelle, the mentally ill woman was released on Wednesday from the Williamson County Jail after authorities decided not to press charges on her for an assault case. Now, the problem came when she was released on her own. Instead of for her own safety, she should have been released to a local mental hospital instead. Now, authorities say the victim was walking about 3 blocks from the jail when she was allegedly raped somewhere along Scenic Drive. And that happened
of traffic on I-35 north. If you're thinking of going north on I-35, you may want to think of another route. Chopper 36 is over a deadly rollover crash that was started, police say, around 2 o'clock north I-35 near the Wells Branch Parkway on the frontage road. Police have told KXAN that the accident involved 6 people. 1 person is dead, the rest in critical condition, and it looks like they were juveniles. Now, traffic is already backing up from Wells Branch Parkway all the way to 290, and it's just getting worse as work is letting out. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Michelle, I was just saying, this is farther back now. This is the upper and lower decks of I-35. It is already backed up all the way to downtown Austin. And this wreck at Wells Branch and I-35, and we've got that freeway closure tonight at 9 o'clock where they're going to divert traffic there at IH-35
starting
and
at 9.
Texas 45 for all weekend. So
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, if you have folks coming in from the south, tell them about this, because they're going to be caught in this traffic for a long, long time. We apologize for the picture breaking up, but we wanted to show you the tremendous backup for northbound traffic on I-35 today in Austin. Well,
Darn cool. Now let's take a look at something that's not quite as scenic, the haze and the traffic plaguing Austin today. I just checked the air quality. It is still in the good range, but it's at the upper end of good. Our AQI reading 46 right now. You can definitely believe we're going to see some more haze.
Stone Phillips, Dateline NBC.
You can watch Dateline this Sunday at 6 for the entire Stone Phillips interview with Lindy England.
And we're going to give you now another live look at the accident scene here along I-35 northbound at Wells Branch Parkway. KXAN's Jim Bergamo now getting first word that the persons in this vehicle that rolled over shortly before 2 o'clock this morning were members of the Conley High School band who were let go of school at about 1:15 today. There were 5 boys and 1 girl in the vehicle. We have 1 person listed as dead at the scene and 5 in serious condition. No names have been released, and we'll have more on this on our news tonight at 6 and more news here at 4 in just a moment.
I'm Michelle Bias, live in the KXAN studio. Here's what we're working on for KXAN News at 6. An update on the breaking information we told you about earlier. A fatal traffic accident on I-35 has cars backed up for miles. At least 1 of the 6 teenagers in the car is dead, and the others 5 seriously injured. KXAN will take you live to Connolly High School where the 6 teens attended as hundreds gather for tonight's big game. KXAN News at 6 is coming up right after NBC Nightly News next.
A deadly Austin wreck, and it's one that will get the attention of parents everywhere. The tables turn for a man who judges others' wrongdoing. It's the end of the line for the DWI case against the Travis County judge. And we sit down one-on-one with Lance Armstrong, who's saying thanks to Austin this weekend. Topping KXAN News at 6, a student from Pflugerville's Conley High School has been killed.
And 5 others were injured in a rollover wreck this afternoon. KXAN's Jim Bergamo just got that information. He's live at the Conley High School football stadium with more. Jim?
Well, Michelle and Robert, no doubt some heavy hearts here tonight, both on the field and in the stands, as the Conley Cougars take on Reagan High School. That's because 6 students who would normally be taking part in the halftime festivities will not. 5, as you mentioned, are in the hospital, and 1 was killed as a result of that rollover accident. Here's the video we can show you and the information that we can share. The accident happened along the Interstate 35 northbound access road between I-35 between Howard Lane and Grand Avenue Parkway. The accident happened within about a half an hour after the students from Conley High School had been released for a teacher workday. Now, witnesses have told police that the young female driver appeared to veer off the paved portion of the access road and then tried to quickly veer back on. The rollover ensued. 1 student died on the scene. All 5 others were taken to the hospital with serious life-threatening injuries. And as I mentioned, all of the students would have been taking part in tonight's halftime festivities.
They were all band students at Conley High School. They were out of school because we had an early out today, and they were released, I believe, at 1:15. The rollover occurred just behind us here, and there was 1 fatality, 1 of the passengers. The other 5 students have been transported to the hospital. The parents have been notified and are there with them.
And that accident, as you can see, a courtesy of Chopper 36, had traffic backed up for miles. The accident again happening between about 1:30 and 1:45 this afternoon. Chopper 36 pilots tell us that the traffic was backed up all the way back to 290 at the worst part. The roads have since been reopened. The scene has been cleared. The young person who died on the scene was a 15-year-old male. Again, the conditions of the other students are still very serious at this time. 1 is in critical. Reporting live at Conley High School Football Stadium, Jim Bergamo, KXAN, NBC Austin.
And we'll have President Bush chooses an old friend from Texas to replace retiring Justice Sandra Day O'Connor.
We have new information today about this fatal rollover accident that left a Conley High School student dead.
A bus loses control and slams into an Austin landmark.
And hundreds of hurricane evacuees line up for Red Cross assistance in East Austin. We'll have all these stories and much more live today on KXAN First Step Forward.
And it all starts right now here on KXAN. Good afternoon. I'm Robert Hadlock.
And I'm Michelle Vias. We began this afternoon with a traffic alert for drivers in far North Austin. Right now, eastbound traffic on 620 is being rerouted to Lake Creek Parkway because of a gas leak. Take a look at this. This is live from KXAN Chopper 36. If your commute takes you anywhere in the 620 and Lake Creek Parkway area, you'll want to find another way. Construction crews working in the area hit a gas line around 11 o'clock this morning. 620 is expected to reopen by 6 o'clock. We will keep you updated throughout the afternoon. Now to Washington, where President Bush has wasted no time choosing his second Supreme Court nominee.
Before newly confirmed Chief Justice John Roberts even took the bench this morning, the president announced he's picked Harriet Miers to replace retiring Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. NBC's Tracy Potts has today's developments.
First woman to head the State Bar of Texas.
We now know the identity of a body found last week along Interstate 35 and William Cannon Drive. The remains of Dino DeRose were found last Thursday in the grass along the northbound frontage road of I-35. DeRose was a lighting director for the band Widespread Panic. He was in town to attend the Austin City Limits Music Festival and was last seen Sunday night of the festival. Austin police believe he was a victim of a hit-and-run driver. Austin police are investigating another fatal hit and run. This one happened around 12:30 this morning in the 8200 block of North Lamar. A man and a woman on a motorcycle were hit. Both were taken to Brackenridge Hospital. The woman died after being transported. The driver of the motorcycle has non-life-threatening injuries. Police say they do not have a description of the car involved in this wreck. Students at Conley High School in North Austin are mourning victims of a fatal car accident near campus on Friday. And it's after students were released early on Friday. The one-car rollover accident left one person dead and 5 injured. 15-year-old Abraham Gomez, a passenger in the car, was pronounced dead at the scene. KXAN's Haley Stavanoa joins us live with more on how Conley High School community is dealing with this loss. Haley?
Well, Robert, I'm told it was a very somber day here at Conley High School. All 6 students were trumpet players in the Conley High School band. And on Friday, after being released early, they were headed to see a movie, all in hopes to get back before the football game started. But unfortunately, on Friday, they never made it to the movie. Now, that one-car fatal accident did take the life of Abraham Gomez. It also backed up traffic for hours. As for the other conditions of the other 5 passengers, one is said to be still in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. One is at home still recovering. The other 3 made it back to class today. Now, counselors say they were very busy all day helping students grieve their loss. The principal says he believes the accident will leave a mark on these kids. Hopefully, he hopes it'll be a lesson learned. Now, as to what caused the accident, that is still under investigation. Now, we're told the funeral arrangements are still being made, but they are being planned for Wednesday for Abraham Gomez. And we're told that the Conley High School band will be playing at the funeral. Reporting live from Pflugerville, Haley Stavanoa, back to you.
Well, on to another kind of accident, not as serious, of course. Legendary South Austin Dance Hall, the Broken Spoke, has been open for 40 years. But Sunday night was truly a first for the club. KXAN's Dan Robertson is live in South Austin to explain. Dan, tell us what happened.
Well, Michelle, it's the first time a tour bus ever actually hit the building. Last night, just after a concert here, they were trying to turn the bus around and something happened. And sure enough, it slammed right into the corner here of the Broken Spoke. A big crowd had just cleared out when the tour bus hit 2 cars and then slammed into the building. Both the bus and the building heavily damaged, but besides a few cuts and scratches, everybody inside the bus and inside the club escaped unhurt. Just a few hours after the crash, Spoke owner James White back hard at work with repairs and feeling optimistic.
It looks better now because we're on the job, we're cleaning it all up, and somebody asked me about being open. I said, well, hell, we got a dance back here Wednesday night.
So the bus allegedly, or we're told anyway, once belonged to country music legend Ray Price and was destined for a museum. Now, as far as the building, you can see they've already got repairs underway, and they expect to have the Spoke open on Wednesday for a fundraiser. for hurricane victims. Live in South Austin, Dan Robertson, KXAN NBC.
Got to keep on rocking. Thanks, Dan. Well, we finally made it to October, Jim. Something to be said about September, though.
Absolutely. It was the hottest September on record. 150 years of record keeping. Never had a hotter one. We're starting off October pretty warm, too. A few clouds in the sky. You saw Dan down there in the sunshine in South Austin, while Haley in North Austin was getting rained on. But as you can see from this live picture from KXAN Chopper 36, most of the area is rain-free right now. Just a few of those cumulus clouds building up to the point that we're seeing a little bit of rain. Let's show you on the storm profiler where that is. And I mean, Haley, a little bit unlucky there this afternoon, because the only rain anywhere in Travis County is that little shower up there around I-35 and Palmer, where she was. We'll zoom out just a bit, and we'll find that we do have a few more showers down in Fayette County. A couple of those producing a little cloud-to-ground lightning down around Schulenburg. You folks down in that area, keep an eye to the sky. Moving kind of inland along I-10 there, but it'll fade away before sunset, long before it makes it to Austin. We've got another cold front coming later in the week. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Some of the people who fled Hurricane Katrina are getting a first look at what's left of their homes. Many homes were reduced to piles of sticks and debris on this street in St. Bernard Parish in Louisiana, and things aren't much better in the houses which are still standing. The big problem there is mold. Despite the destruction this morning, some schools in Jefferson Parish opened their doors to students for the first time since the hurricane.
KXAN, NBC Austin.
Now here's a live look at 620 and Lake Creek Parkway from the only TV helicopter in town, Chopper 36. Right now, eastbound traffic on 620 is being rerouted to Lake Creek Parkway because of a gas leak. We'll have more on KXAN First at 4.
Tonight, the president's newest choice for the Supreme Court and a warning about buying a used car after Hurricane Katrina. It's all ahead on NBC Nightly News.
If life hasn't turned out the way you wanted, don't give up hope. At Austin Business College, we believe your life can change, that you can achieve your dreams.
Our legal office programs offer career skills for a better life, a responsible, rewarding career.
All right, my baby fix for the day. We'd like to welcome a new baby to Central Texas. KXAN's Chris Willis and his wife, Catherine, are the proud parents. Oh, look at that baby boy. Austin James Willis was born Friday afternoon and weighed 7 pounds, 11 ounces. The family is now resting at home. Congratulations. And Chris is right. He's very handsome.
He is indeed.
Imagine riding a bike across the country.
That's what these cancer advocates are doing. The Bristol-Myers Squibb Company Tour of Hope is a 9-day-long ride from San Diego all the way to Washington, D.C. It's to educate Americans about cancer research and survival. Overnight, they made a stop at the state capitol.
Never to give up is my message, and that there is hope. And I've had 3 clinical trial studies, and without those studies, I probably wouldn't be here speaking with you right now.
The group member said 16 weeks of training did not prepare them for the challenge of riding all the way through Texas. They continue their ride 89 miles today to Fayetteville. That's near Houston.
We want to update you on some traffic problems in North Austin. You can see in these exclusive pictures from KXAN Live Chopper 36 that eastbound traffic on 620 is being rerouted to Lake Creek Parkway.
And as you can imagine, construction crews are working to get the gas line back up. It broke around 11 this morning. If your commute now takes you anywhere near 620 and Lake Creek Parkway, you will want to find another way to go since this is all tied up right now. They expect to have it back into operation, though, around 6 o'clock today. And Travis County Judge Sam Bisco is cleared of driving while intoxicated charges. And soon you can see for yourself what happened the night he was arrested. KXAN Santa Henderson is live in our newsroom with a story that she's working on for our news at 6.
Robert, this tape was just released. It shows field sobriety testing and how Judge Bisco acted before being arrested last August. Now, the day he was stopped, police say they saw his car, he was weaving, but Judge Bisco admitted he'd been drinking, but says he was not drunk. And on Friday, a special prosecutor agreed and dismissed all charges in the case. Now, the special prosecutor says that Judge Bisco suffers from diabetes, which causes a medical condition that affects his balance. They saw that, they felt that he was not intoxicated, but it was that condition that caused him to be able to not be able to pass that test. We'll have more on this at 6.
And we're going to leave you with a live look from Chopper 36. Thanks for joining us here for KXAN News 4. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock. The first day back at school for Central Texas high school students mourning the loss of a classmate. Tale of the tape. Now that drunk driving charges against the Travis County judge are dropped, see the videotape for yourself and see what you think.
Just about any night, you'll find a tour bus parked behind the broken spoke. But not often will you find a tour bus parked in the broken spoke. We'll have the story coming up on KXAN.
We begin with breaking news. Even more legal problems for Texas Congressman Tom DeLay. Good evening, I'm Robert Hadlock.
And I'm Michelle Vias. Late this afternoon, a Travis County grand jury indicted DeLay on a new charge of money laundering. KXAN Santa Henderson joins us live with the latest on this breaking news. Santa?
Michelle, this is the indictment. Tom DeLay now faces an indictment for money laundering in addition to his first count of criminal conspiracy. Now, this money laundering indictment is a much more serious charge. Tom DeLay is accused of getting money to Texas politicians for their elections in 2002. Once again, he's named in the indictment along with two other men. Now, those men are John Caliandro and Jim Ellis. It all goes back to a group DeLay founded called Texans for a Republican Majority, or TRIMPAC. The district attorney alleges the man got corporate donations, sent the donations to the Republican National Committee, which in turn sent the money to 7 candidates for the Texas legislature. Now, defense attorneys say everything that was done on the level, and you can bet this will be a fight to the finish. Already, Mr. DeLay has had to step down as House Majority Leader, and he claims that District Attorney Ronnie Earl is playing politics, and now this new indictment, this money laundering, is sure to get his attention.
Santa, well, what's next in the case? Many are wondering, will DeLay be tried along with the other men?
Well, Mr. DeLay has several attorneys. He has several local attorneys, along with Houston attorney Dick DeGuerin. Last week, Mr. DeGuerin said that he wants a trial by the end of the year. And just today, the local attorneys in Austin, Bill White, filed a motion, and that motion was to dismiss the criminal conspiracy charges. He says that before that law came into effect, this alleged allegation had already happened, so it shouldn't be an indictment at all. We'll have more on this story as it becomes available. Live in the newsroom, Santa Henderson, KXAN, NBC, Austin.
Well, time to take you on the road for an update on traffic tie-ups and a series of fatal accidents. Traffic is now moving again at this hour after a gas leak forced authorities to reroute eastbound traffic on 620 in far north Austin. And here's a live view from KXAN Chopper 36, the only TV helicopter in town. As you can see, traffic is flowing well right now after a day of delays. A lot of people had to hunt for alternate routes after construction crews working in the area hit a gas line around 11 o'clock this morning. And tonight, Austin police are investigating another fatal hit and run. A man and a woman on a motorcycle were hit around 12:30 this morning on the 8200 block of Lamar Boulevard. The woman was pronounced dead at Brackenridge, and the man had non-life-threatening injuries. Police say they do not have a description of the car involved in the wreck.
And we have confirmation now of the identity of another apparent hit-and-run victim in Austin. The body of Dino DeRose, this man, was found last Thursday in a grassy area near the intersection of IH-35 and William Cannon Drive. DeRose worked for the band Widespread Panic as a lighting director. He was in Austin with the band for the Austin City Limits Music Festival and was seen last at the downtown Austin area on Sunday a week ago, the last night of the festival. Students at Conley High School in far north Austin are mourning the victim of a fatal car accident near that campus on Friday. Minutes after students were released early on Friday, the one-car rollover accident left 1 person dead and 5 injured. 15-year-old Abraham Gomez, a passenger in the car, was pronounced dead at the scene. KXAN's Haley Stavanoa joins us live with more on how the Conley community is dealing with the loss.
Well, Robert, it was a very sad and somber day here at Conley High School, but as you can see behind me, the Conley High School band is trying to pick up the pieces and move on as they practice. All 6 students involved in Friday's car accident were in the band. They were trumpet players, and they were headed together to go see a movie as they had done each week. Now, Friday, just after being released early from school, about half a mile from here is where the one-car accident took place. 15-year-old Abraham Gomez was pronounced dead at the scene. The others were taken to the hospital. All are home except for one who is said to be in stable condition. Now, the school counselor says over 50 students have sought help while dealing with their loss. And here's some tips for parents with grieving children.
Make sure that their students eating and drinking and make sure they're getting rest and make sure they're staying in some semblance of a normal routine. Because that builds structure and gives them safety to where they can grieve.
Abraham's just a very quiet and polite young man. I mean, just the way you want them all to be, just wonderful. He had a neat sense of humor, but because he was always quiet, anytime he cracked a joke or something, it was just out of character and just even that much more funny.
As for the cause of the accident, APD tells us it is still under investigation, and we're told that the funeral for Abraham Gomez will be on Wednesday, and that the family has asked for the Conley High School band to play at the funeral in honor of Abraham. Reporting live in North Austin, Haley Savinoa, KXAN, NBC Austin.
Legendary dance hall The Broken Spoke celebrated 40 years of boot scooting a few months ago, but Sunday night was truly a first for the club. KXAN's Dan Robertson is live in South Austin to tell us what happened there. Dan?
Well, Michelle, you often see a tour bus parked behind the Broken Spoke, but this one is actually parked in the Broken Spoke, and already they've started some repairs here. The Spoke has been the scene of historic moments for a long time, but this is the first time anything ever crashed through the wall. A big crowd had just cleared out from the legendary Broken Spoke when...
Sound like an explosion, you know, just kaboom, just really loud, and then it kaboom and hit again like it just kept on coming.
A tour bus hit 2 cars and slammed into the building. But besides a few cuts and scratches, everyone escaped unhurt. By the light of day, James White is already optimistic.
It looks better now because we're on the job, we're cleaning it all up. Somebody asked me about being open. I said, well, hell, we got a dance back here Wednesday night.
The building is damaged, but still sound. Son Giesenslaw's famous casket gray Cadillac, not as lucky. This bus once belonged to country legend Ray Price and was being leased by the Giesenslaws. It's headed for a museum, and now it's got one more story to tell.
I've been here 40 years, and I thought I'd seen everything.
Drive-through chicken fried steak right here at Broken Spoke.
No one is sure what happened, but it could have been a lot worse.
We'll be all laughing about it before it's over. If somebody wants me to make this into a patio and just leave the bus right there. They've already got one hole in the wall club, so I guess we'll call this the bus in the hole in the wall club, I guess.
All right, well, they've already got a bunch of repairs fixed, and James White tells me that they're going to be open tomorrow. On Wednesday, they've got a hurricane relief fundraiser going on here as well. Live on South Lamar, Dan Robertson, KXAN, NBC Austin.
Dan, thanks. Well, it's the tale of the tape. The defense attorney for Travis County Judge Sam Bisco today released police videotape from his drunk driving arrest last year, or earlier this year, rather. Still, Judge Bisco says he has nothing to hide, and decide for yourself if that is the case. Take a look. This is the tape showing the moments before the judge's arrest. The judge is performing the heel-to-toe test for the police officer. He gets through that portion without stumbling. Then he's told to do the balance by lifting his legs. The judge stumbles a bit, but then is able to get through it before stumbling yet again. All the while, Judge Bisco is counting 1001, 1002, 1003, so forth. After the testing, the officer put handcuffs on Bisco and arrested him. Bisco's defense countered, saying he's diabetic and as a result suffers from a condition which affects his balance. The special prosecutor dropped the DWI all charges after his own medical expert agreed that more than likely the judge was not intoxicated.
To specialists who in fact confirmed that diabetes does have some effect on your balance, your ability to perform physically, especially the agility test that I took.
And that arrest happened last year. Judge Sam Bisco says he still does drink alcohol, but less than before his arrest.
President Bush is shining the national spotlight on another Texan today.
He wants a former Dallas City Council member to sit on the nation's highest court. As KXAN's political reporter Rich Parsons tells us, she's been advising Bush since his days here in Austin.
Supreme Court nominee Harriet Miers has been at George W. Bush's side since before he was elected governor of Texas, rising now to the president's general counsel.
She is a highly capable, highly motivated, highly effective attorney and someone that he knows really well and respects.
Bush trusted her enough to appoint her to chair of the Texas Lottery Commission in 1995, while the lottery was in turmoil over contractor issues.
People should feel comfortable that the games are being operated properly.
Her friends in Austin political circles, like former Texas Supreme Court Justice Craig Enoch, insist Miers operates with high ethics and integrity.
She has a mind of her own. She is a counselor, after all. When she gets on the U.S. Supreme Court, she understands the role of the Supreme Court.
But having never served as a judge, many wonder how she'll do on the nation's high court and what she believes. Justice Enoch says she'll follow the law, even on the hottest of issues like abortion.
She's a person of faith. She's in an evangelical church, the Disciples of Christ in Dallas. I think that her philosophy will be driven by a conservative view of the role of the court, but I can't say definitively what she is on the abortion issue.
Her friends say all she needs to be is fair and just.
She knows that a judge's job is to call balls and strikes, to be independent, and to be capable.
Certainly Myers has her opponents, both Republican and Democrat, but in the several calls I made today, no one I spoke with in Austin, Houston, or Dallas had a cross word about her. Still, many have yet to form a strong opinion about her because the public knows so little about her personal beliefs and how that might influence her decisions on the high court. We'll have several weeks to flesh that all out. Back to you.
Well, nice look at the skies. We are in October. Welcome October, but something to be said about September, Jim.
Well, and October is beginning just as September left off. Very unusually warm. 95 degrees the high temperature today. That is our normal midsummer high temperature. And we're seeing actually a few rain showers out there today too, but only isolated activity, not cooling very many of us down. Will we get more rain, and when is that next cold front? You know it's just around the corner in October. I'll tell you in just a few minutes.
Hurricane help. Many victims here in Austin still desperate for help. We'll show you next on KXAN NBC Austin. Key Roger, we thank you for joining us tonight.
Wheels next. We'll see you for KXAN News tonight at 10. Right now on KXAN at 4, an alleged bank robber who took part in a wild police chase in Williamson County is now in court. Our Williamson County newsroom is tracking the very latest developments in a live report next.
And a live picture of traffic. Boy, look at that I-35 near MLK. An Austin group wants you to dump the pump just ahead, finding an alternative to sitting in traffic on the roads. KXAN News First at 4 starts right now. First today, a teen who allegedly killed a student coming off the school bus in late September will stay behind bars for now. I'm Michelle Vyas.
I'm Robert Hadlock. This case is leading a local judge.
Rising from the ashes, fires destroyed several Austin businesses, and now your federal tax dollars are being spent to help the owners rebuild. Learn how and why in a live report coming up.
But first on KXAN News at 4, relief from the heat. The arrival of fall-like weather is pushing through Central Texas. The news starts right now, and what a difference a day makes. Good afternoon. I'm Robert Hadlock.
And I'm Michelle Vyas. Our days of 90-degree weather have dipped to the 70s, and everyone's talking about the cool change, and many are taking advantage of the weather outdoors, including our own Jim Spencer. Jim, is it getting any cooler out there?
It's getting a little bit cooler gradually. It's been a very slow process today. In fact, some places off to the east are still in the 80s this afternoon. That front a little bit slower coming in than we thought, but it is 75 degrees right now here at our KXAN studio. Let's take a look at those current conditions. Winds have been out of the north today. I think they're actually going to pick up as we get a stronger push of the cooler weather coming in tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow probably will be even a cooler day than today. But I can tell you, if you're standing out here in this bright sunshine right now, you still get a little sweaty. It doesn't feel too much like a strong cold front, but then again, we've been in the 90s every other day this October, so it is certainly welcome. But again, the cooler temperatures are still to come, and the weekend weather forecast is coming up too. I want to mention one thing. I think the weather in Dallas for the Cotton Bowl, the game on Saturday, is going to be very much like this right now. Mid-70s temperature-wise, but the sun should be beaten down, and maybe partly cloudy to mostly sunny. So you'll want short sleeves and shorts, and maybe some sunscreen also there if you're headed up to the big game on Saturday. I'll have more about our own weather here through the weekend coming up.
Thank you, Jim.
In East Austin, I'm Sally Hernandez, KXAN NBC Austin.
They tortured a gay man in his own Austin home, and now they are admitting guilt and they're going to prison. Today, Donald Bachman and Darren Gay were sentenced to 6 years in prison for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Last summer, the men met the victim at the Oil Can Harry's nightclub in the Warehouse District downtown. The victim says once they got to his apartment, the men beat and tortured him. He claims his own knives and other weapons were used against him, and that one of the men even read from the Bible during the attack.
We have new developments today in a serial burglar case that is under investigation up in Round Rock. We first told you yesterday at 4 about the arrest of 18-year-old Nathaniel Joseph Lang. He is charged with multiple counts of vehicle burglary, theft, and evading arrest. Well, during the early morning of September,
Austin.
We have some breaking news now into the KXAN newsroom, just in from southeast Texas in the coastal Bend area of Texas. The Associated Press is reporting an explosion at this hour at a plant in Point Comfort. A blast at that huge Formosa plastics facility caused the Port Lavaca Causeway, State Highway 35, and Farm Road 1593 to be shut down. 2 ambulances were sent to that plant. Point Comfort is about 150 miles southeast of San Antonio, near the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have much more information as we get it here on KXAN News at 4. Well, sometimes a story is both disgusting and riveting all at the same time.
this is one of those stories. Scientists in Florida
Paying double or even triple the normal fare. Coming up next on KXAN News at 4, a promising new tool that could help prevent one of the top killers of women.
Then find out how your appetite could help keep Austin kids in school. That's all still ahead right here on KXAN NBC Austin. An update on the breaking news in southeast Texas. We just told you about a few minutes ago. An explosion is being reported at a plant in Point Comfort. That's about 150 miles southeast of San Antonio. Now, the blast at the Formosa Plastics facility has shut down the Port Lavaca Causeway, State Highway 35, and FM 1593. We have a chopper on the way, and we'll have new pictures for you tonight at 6 o'clock. More kids drop out of school in Texas than
KXAN.com or call that number.
Ooh, Jim, you made it outside. Lucky you. You get to enjoy these nice temperatures.
I think the idea was, yeah, to get me out here in the nice, cool weather, but I'm sweating. If you're in the sunshine, you know, you can always add 15 degrees to the current temperature. And so while it's 75 right now out here, that's in the shade and feels more like 90 to me. It is a cold front, though. It's better than that actual thermometer reading of being 90 degrees, and we're not going to see that for a while. In fact, take another look at the 7-day forecast here. Really pleasant mornings the next several mornings, and highs tomorrow and Friday not making it out of the 70s, and a good chance of rain coming in next Monday and Tuesday. I'll tell you more about that on KXAN News at 6. Back to you.
Jim, thank you, and thank you for joining us here for KXAN News at 4.
Keep it right here on KXAN for NBC Nightly News at 5:30. See you then. I'm Michelle Bias with an update on the breaking news we first brought you earlier. An explosion at a plant 135 miles southeast of Austin happened at around 3:30 at the Formosa's plastic plant in Point Comfort. Now, we have been told at least 5 people have received minor injuries after that explosion, and we can tell you that plant makes PVC and vinyl for floor and wall coverings. It was unclear of what was burning. We will bring you those live pictures coming up on KXAN News 36 at 6.
Contour from Bayer.
Breaking news, a massive explosion at a plant in southeast Texas sends huge plumes of smoke into the sky that can be seen for miles. New pictures next.
The Texas Senate could be the next political prize for a face very familiar to Austinites. I'll tell you who coming up.
Tonight at 6 on KXAN, NBC.
An explosion on the Texas Gulf Coast late today. More information is just now coming in. We'll have an update on injuries from the scene.
Fire here at home destroyed local businesses, and now a new program trades the owners money to rebuild for a promise of new jobs.
A crime of opportunity. You won't believe how effortlessly an area burglar was able to get into hundreds of cars. First, an explosion has a plant in southeast Texas in flames right now. You can see the fire at the plastics plant in Point Comfort sending a black pillar of smoke into the sky. At least 6 people now have been hurt. This plant makes PVC and vinyl for floor and wall coverings, but it's unclear what's burning or what caused the explosion. The city of Point Comfort was urging elderly residents to shut off their air conditioners because of concerns coming from the plant. But a Calhoun County spokesperson says no toxic materials have been released. Point Comfort is along the Texas Gulf Coast in the coastal Bend region, about halfway between Corpus Christi and Galveston. The blast happened at about 3:30 and shut down several nearby roads, including the Port Lavaca Causeway.
Topping local news right now, about $500,000 of your federal tax money is going to help struggling Austin businesses.
with the goal that each of those businesses must give you something back. KXAN Sally Hernandez is live at one of the recipients in East Austin with that. Sally?
That's right, Michelle. The Austin City Council voted on this. KXAN, NBC Austin.
Investigators are releasing a few new bits of information tonight on a murder case in Burnett County in hopes of getting even more tips from the public. KXAN's Hill Country reporter Connie Swinney is live near the scene where investigators first thought it was a car accident. Connie?
Well, Robert, an investigator told us that he believes that because of some of the clues surrounding this case, it could be related to drugs, but he wouldn't say much more than that. And investigators also told us that they took an interest in the driver, not the driver, but the owner of the vehicle, who was not the victim. A worker first found the wreckage off Max Starkey Road on September 16th with the body of a 20-year-old Brooke Roberts inside. Now, this Mitsubishi Galant suffered damage from what appeared to be a 40-foot drop off a cliff. The roadway leads to Max Starkey Dam, just southeast of Marble Falls. The victim and car's owner are both from Austin, but the trail went cold shortly after in a case not typical of area crime.
This one occurred in a remote area of Burnett County. There were no witnesses to the event, and so we're needing tips from the public to help us solve this crime.
Authorities told us that they talked to the car's owner, but they are not telling us if he's a suspect, so they are needing your help. You can contact the Hill Country Area Crime Stoppers with more information. Now, we also did a search on the victim, a criminal background check, and what we found so far is it looked like she had a misdemeanor charge, but it was not a drug charge. Reporting live in Burnett County, Connie Swinney, KXAN NBC Austin.
Convicted killer Ronald.
What's the forecast coming up?
Well, the bus saga at the Brogan Spoke continues tonight.
A lot of my people that came by and said, "Oh, I like the bus. I think you ought to leave it here."
Find out the fate of the bus that dramatically overshot its parking job at the South Austin landmark next.
Get your horns up. The annual Stampede up I-35 to Dallas is already underway. We'll check on traffic and the traffic warnings. That's coming up on KXAN, NBC Austin. Quickly recapping today's top local stories you can find at KXAN.com. There's a reward for information in the case of a murdered woman found near Marble Falls. The body of 20-year-old Brooke Roberts was discovered September 16th in another person's car that crashed off Max Starkey Dam Road.
Round Rock police caught a man they believe to be a serial car burglar in the act, and they say dozens of the victims simply left their cars unlocked.
Some small Austin businesses damaged by fire will get loans to rebuild, but under the new federal program, they must promise to use some of the money to create jobs for some low-income Austinites.
Jim Spencer here with your Texas OU weather.
Two questions I've gotten most today. Texas, Oklahoma weather in Dallas Saturday, and secondly,
And the Cardinals went over to the Padres in the other series today.
All right.
Thank you, Roger. We thank you for joining us tonight.
We'll see you right after ER at 10.
Right there, man. It's religious holiday.
It's Texas OU weekend, and for the first time in years, the UT faithful are feeling victory in the air.
I'm meteorologist Laura Skirty. A chilly and wet start to the weekend, but plenty of sunshine is on the way.
See this parking lot full of cars? Find out which one is most likely to get stolen right here in Austin.
Tonight at 6. Sometimes the wheels are gone, sometimes the stereos are gone.
And sometimes the whole car is gone. KXAN investigates the places you're most likely to get your car stolen and which car thieves target most. A story you're going to see only right here on KXAN NBC Austin. Cooler temperatures got some by surprise, but how long is it going to last? And Chopper 36 following the traffic for this weekend's Texas Red River rivalry. But first, some breaking news tonight. Hi, everyone. I'm Sally Hernandez in for Michelle Valles.
And I'm Robert Hadlock. Just an hour ago, former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay's legal team filed a motion accusing Travis County District Attorney Ronnie Earl of misconduct. Dick DeGuerin says Earl unlawfully participated in grand jury deliberations when he went to a second grand jury last week to seek a second indictment against DeLay. DeGuerin also alleges that Earl, quote, attempted to browbeat and coerce the second grand jury to change its decision not to indict DeLay so there would be no public record of a rejection.
On to another top story. Texas OU weekend is upon us, in case you didn't know. The #2 ranked Longhorns are in Dallas for their 100th meeting with the Oklahoma Sooners, and thousands of Austinites are hitting the road right now for the Red River rivalry tomorrow. KXAN's Rich Parsons live on I-35 and MLK with more on what the ride-up looks like.
Sally, check this out. This is great news for folks who are about to hit the road and head up to the Red River rivalry. Those taillights are moving north and traffic seems to be going fairly smoothly. So far, no reports from TxDOT of any major delays between here and Dallas, but a lot of folks decided to get an early start today anyway. By plane, train, and automobile.
That's all your weekend. That's the way to start off. See you guys on the bus.
Okay, or by bus. The Longhorn faithful are heading north for their annual...
If you're curious, last year's Chevy pickups and Suburbans topped that list. Well, next, the son of a state senator ends up in jail, but the story doesn't end there. The details are coming up.
Also ahead, more jobs could be headed our way here in Austin. We've got more local news just ahead.
That's how I feel, and I'm not alone. I'm Santa Henderson coming up. We'll tell you about the cold weather in Austin.
And here is another live look from our KXAN Chopper 36, the only local news helicopter in the television market of Austin. And we see Yeager and I-35 backed up for miles and miles. And there are a lot of folks in that line that are heading to Dallas in the Cotton Bowl. We'll have another live report from Dallas and much more on the horns and OU and more local news up.
Today's the day that we could see some downpours that we are so overdue for, and it looks like that rain will be dwindling toward the end of the week.
All right, thanks a lot, Laura.
Wheel of Fortune next, and we'll see you for our next edition of KXAN News tonight at 10. And don't forget the Highlight Zone with Roger and all the high school football action from around Central Texas, plus another preview of the Longhorn game tomorrow. Thank you for being with us. See you at 10.
Good night.
Thank you, Central Texas, for making KXAN News 36 at 6 the place you turn to most for your news and weather.
KXAN.
Here tonight at 10 o'clock.
All right, Chris will have all the updated scores, NFL and college, the latest on the Horns' latest victory as well. I'll take it.
The ground exploded.
Now at 4 and only on KXAN, the skies didn't open up, but the ground sure did. The East Austin water main washout is just moments away. Caught on tape, punched by police. More fallout from the French Quarter as 3 New Orleans police officers appear in court accused of beating a man. KXAN News First at 4 starts right now. And First at 4, a 5-year-old boy and his 50-year-old father are gunned down.
Williamson County officials say the disturbing crime is being investigated as a murder-suicide. The first 911 call came in just before 9 o'clock last night from a home in the town of Granger. That's northeast of Georgetown, of course. And KXAN's Haley Stavanoa is tracking the latest on this developing a very sad story. She's live in our Williamson County newsroom with the very latest.
That's right, Robert. It is a very sad and tragic story. The Williamson County Sheriff's Department says they did receive that 911 call about a domestic problem out in Granger, but by the time authorities arrived on the scene, it was too late. Once authorities did arrive on the scene, they found this man, 50-year-old Dennis Laughlin, and his 5-year-old son, both dead. Now, police say Laughlin and his wife, who had been separated, had been arguing that night. The 911 call was made after Laughlin drove around to the rear of the house and tried driving through it. Mrs. Laughlin grabbed her 3-year-old child and ran next door to a neighbor's house for safety. An elementary Granger teacher who knew the 5-year-old little boy says he always had a smile on his face.
I always called him my little man. I always said, hey, little dude. He was the sweetest person you would ever want to know. It was horrible. It's just horrible.
Now, authorities do say that they had received numerous calls about domestic problems at that house. They said, but none of them had ever been this violent. Reporting live from the Williamson County Bureau, Haley Stavanoa, back to you.
Haley, thank you.
Well, back here in Austin, a water main break made for a spectacular scene in one East Austin neighborhood today. KXAN's Dan Robertson has the exclusive. He is live in East Austin where a geyser erupted this afternoon. Now, Dan, I understand our cool and wet weather is causing some trouble for the city's water department.
Well, you're right about that, Julie. It's not just the cool temperatures in the rainfall, but anytime there's a sudden shift between dry to wet or wet to dry, city workers say that the ground moves around. You can see that they're still working on that water main back over here just off of East 18th Street.
Monday morning brought everyone a little rain, but not as much as this house.
The ground exploded and I heard these loud these loud bangs and rocks were flying, and all of a sudden the water started gushing like a geyser.
A 12-inch water main burst, probably because rain on dry soil caused it to shift. Firefighters did what they could to keep water out of the house. But main breaks are a common problem anytime there's a significant change in the weather, especially in older neighborhoods.
One of the problems that water crews faced when they arrived on the gusher was finding all the valves to cut off the water. Many of them had been paved over.
Once the water stops, workers will repair the line and rebuild the street. The homeowner isn't as lucky. Water caused considerable damage inside.
And as you can see, repairs are still going on behind me here. It looks like it's moving a little slower than they anticipated earlier this afternoon. And also this afternoon, crews are working at least one other water main break over at South Austin in South Austin near Brody and William Cannon. So another problem there. This one should be fixed and the water back on sometime a little later this evening. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Dan Robertson, reporting live in East Austin.
A jackknifed 18-wheeler along Interstate 35 in North Austin kept thousands in major gridlock this morning. Austin police are trying to figure out if the rain may have caused the driver of this 18-wheeler to lose control along the 5400 block of IH-35 near Capitol Plaza just before crashing around 5 o'clock this morning. Traffic backed up for several miles, creating major delays. The better news, though, nobody was hurt. Now a live look at the interstate from our TxDOT camera where that accident happened. As you can see, traffic moving very well. A normal afternoon, in fact, better than normal since this is a Columbus Day holiday. New traffic troubles to tell you about now. The eastbound lanes of U.S. Highway 290 in Northeast Austin are slowly moving this afternoon after an earlier accident. The driver of this pickup truck lost control near Springdale Road around 1 o'clock this afternoon, shutting down traffic. The driver was taken to the hospital as a precaution. Investigators have not released how or why the driver lost control. And a teenage driver critically injured after colliding head-on with an ambulance in East Austin remains hospitalized this afternoon. According to EMS spokesman, a car headed in the opposite direction of the ambulance moved to the side, and that's when the 18-year-old driver hit the ambulance along Berkman Drive near East 51st Street. The two paramedics inside the empty ambulance were responding to a 911 call when the accident happened. Both were treated and released from the hospital. Austin police have not decided whether they'll file any charges against the teenager. He remains in critical condition at Brackenridge Hospital.
Well, daylight reveals the damage left behind by an out-of-control fire. Now, this blaze seriously damaged one home last night and jumped to a second home in the 1200 block of Warrington. That's in North Austin. Today, Austin fire officials say the cause of the first fire was electrical and ruled it accidental. Damages are estimated at $225,000. Nearly 60 firefighters responded to both fires. The good news in this, no one was injured. And there are new developments today in a weekend warehouse fire in Lockhart that only KXAN Chopper 36 can bring you. Take a look at this exclusive video. The flames spread throughout the gin company warehouse, which stored chemicals used for cotton production. Earlier today, the Caldwell County Fire Marshal said the cause of the fire may be accidental. An official determination won't be made until later in the week. No one was injured in the fire, and the water runoff from the site will not impact the water in a nearby creek. Austin police need your help tracking down two men accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl.
Both of the alleged attackers are black men ranging in height from 5'9" to 5'11". One has shoulder-length dreadlocks, a cut on his left cheek, under his left eye, and a gold tooth. The second suspect has a tattoo that may be a cross with a ribbon on his right forearm. Austin police say the attack happened on Friday night near the Booker T. Washington complex in East Austin. The girl told police she was walking on Neal Street when the two men driving a light blue or gray car stopped and grabbed her. She was then forced into the back seat where she was sexually assaulted and later released. If you have any information about this crime, call the Austin Police tip line. This number, 974-6880.
U.S. aid is arriving in Pakistan today, where officials say at least 20,000 people died in this weekend's earthquake that demolished entire towns along the Pakistan-India border. A British team rescued a man at this building collapse, and two schoolgirls were pulled to safety, but thousands of kids were killed. Certainly very disturbing images, and that was Carl Quintanilla reporting. Well, the deadline to register for the upcoming election is just a day away.
We're going to look at some of the issues you can expect on the ballot this year. Also ahead, smokers may end up lighting up their cigarettes one more time inside Austin bars. We'll have details on that coming up. Plus, a little later, the home of the future, a sneak peek at what your home may look like thanks to the creation of these university students. And here's a live look outside of our KXAN tower camera. A little foggy and hazy day perhaps. What's ahead? We're going to have Jim's forecast coming up. You're watching KXAN NBC Austin.
Tonight at 6.
These workers are repairing a 12-inch water main that burst earlier this morning. It's partly because of the weather, and there could be more water main breaks to come. I'm Dan Robertson. I'll have the story.
Tonight at 6 on KXAN NBC Austin.
And we are taking you back in time where the turtle-looking shell once topped the old Palmer Auditorium. Last week, construction crews began taking the beams out of the auditorium to prepare for the new Long Center of the Performing Arts. Well, now let's take a live look outside with our downtown tower cam. You can see the progress 1 week later. The project is on time and it's set to open on March of 2008.
Well, yet another election is less than a month away here in Texas, and tomorrow is the last day for you to register to vote on November 8th. But voters will be casting their ballots on issues, not candidates this time. There are 9 state constitutional amendments to vote on, plus various local issues. The most controversial is Proposition 2 that would constitutionally define marriage in Texas as a union between one man and one woman.
And just because there's not people on the ballot doesn't mean that a constitutional amendment election is not emotional. There could be something that strikes right at the core of something you care about.
Again, you must register to vote by tomorrow to cast a ballot in the November 8th constitutional amendment election in Texas.
Well, cigarettes could soon be back in Austin bars. That's if a hearing scheduled for tomorrow goes in the favor of bar owners. KXAN's Jenny Hoff shows us why some Austin bar owners are suing and how the city is fighting back.
KXAN NBC Austin.
Okay, we've got some breaking news. In fact, just down the street from us here at KXAN, a fire has started spreading now. We are told that this is at the Ivory Cleaners that's in the